Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful day so far. I got a good one for you today. So, it seems like Freeland's back in the news, doing her rounds and trying to make herself seem more deserving of the liberal leadership. And let's just say it's not going so well. First, during her campaign declaration, she had protesters there, and now during her mainstream interview, she's trying to convince people that she's a changed person. So, before we get to it, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. And with no further ado, let's get into it.
Ms. Freeland, good to see you this morning. Thanks for the time.
Good to be with you, Nick.
Okay, so let's talk about, this is the big day, Inauguration Day. I realize it's day 2 of your campaign, but I think we have to talk about kind of the elephant in the room being the Donald Trump return of the President Trump here. Your thoughts on not only Donald Trump being back in office, but the threats of financial annexation to Canada, 51st state. If you become Liberal leader and therefore Prime Minister, how would you tackle Trump?
We need to be strong, smart, and united. The key thing is not to be scared. What Trump wants is chaos. What he wants is uncertainty. And as a country, we have to say, you know what? We can stand up for ourselves. I love what Bill had to say about the weather. He said, we love Canada, we can get through this, and we're tough. I think that is who we are, really, in our core, and it's that attitude that we have to bring to this truly challenging situation.
And it is challenging, and you have...
It's interesting now that Chrystia Freeland's running for Liberal leader, how she's all about this Team Canada thing, and, oh, let's all come together, when she made it her life's purpose to divide Canadians when she was with the Liberal Party of Canada. Does anybody remember how she acted during the Great Cold of 2021?
Experience on this. I remember, I think one of the last times I saw you was in Washington, going back and forth during the sort of free trade sort of renegotiation here. With your experience there, what did you learn about Donald Trump, and what would you therefore bring to the table this time around?
I learned 2 things. One, he does not like weakness. For him, weakness is an invitation to just push harder and ask for more. The second thing I learned is if you're smart, if you have a plan, and if the fundamentals are actually good, which is what Canada offers the U.S., you can get a great deal. We did it before, we can do it again.
Okay, let's move to why you're in the running then. We saw the letter. Everyone read the letter. It was kind of a bombshell that broke as we were on air here, about a month or so ago here. Your split from Justin Trudeau came as a shock to so many people because, I did a Google image search of you over the weekend, and in so many pictures, you're side by side with Justin Trudeau. Can you explain a little more of your case as to why you decided now was no longer the time to sort of support him or sort of be in his cabinet, as it were?
Yeah, for sure. And like you started the question, Nick, saying, why am I in the running? And I'm in the running really because we need to stand up to Donald Trump, and I am the person who can do it. I know how to fight for Canada. I know we need to fight for Canada. I have a plan to fight for Canada, and that's what we need right now.
But of course...
So that's the only reason she's running right now, is just because of Donald Trump. It's all about Donald Trump. I think that's what the Liberals' whole election campaign and the Liberal leadership campaign is going to be about it. And during the election, it's going to be Pierre Poilievre's Canada's Donald Trump. We got to stand up to him, which couldn't be anything further from the truth. But that seems like what they're leading up to.
Of course, your close association with the Prime Minister, a lot of people... It's hard not to know. I mean, it was like kind of hard to separate you. Even as he was talking, he talked about how you were side by side with him here. How will you distinguish yourself from the Prime Minister's record in this race? Because so many people, again, Finance Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, you're very closely linked.
Nick, for me, this campaign has been a real liberation. It is great to be able to say exactly what I think, to speak as a leader, and to speak in my own voice. I am loving it. And, I did resign from the cabinet. I was disagreeing with the Prime Minister more and more. I realized we were, as a government, on the wrong path. I knew Inauguration Day was coming. See all your coverage. Canadians know this is the central issue. I knew that that had to be what our government was focused on. We couldn't afford to throw away $6 billion. We needed to keep our firepower dry. And today we need to look to the future. And we need to say, you know, as Bill said, we love our country. We are tough. We can get through this. I have a plan to do that. And crucially, I have the guts and the experience to deliver on that plan for Canadians.
We know Donald Trump doesn't like you very much, Ms. Freeland. How would that change things if you went back into negotiations with him?
I think it is a huge advantage for Canada. It is really, really important for Donald Trump not to sense weakness, not to sense that Canada can be bullied, not to sense that Canada will capitulate. He knows that I won't do any of those things. And that's how we get a good deal.
Let's go back to the disagreement you're having.
So it was that extra $6 billion that really pushed her off the edge to quit. It wasn't the extra $62 billion deficit, 55% more than the deficit we were supposed to have. That was the issue. It was that extra $6 billion. That was really the straw that broke the camel's back right there, that she just had to put her foot down for all Canadians. And it's like, no, this can't stand, Trudeau. You can't do this to Canadians. We got to keep our fire powder dry, which I don't even know what the heck that means. If anybody can tell me what that means, please tell me in the chat below. And while you're saying it in the chat below, if you could take 5 seconds to hit that subscribe button, that would be awesome.
Having with the Prime Minister, because let's say you win this race. Of course, there's several people in the race right now. If there was a disagreement in your cabinet, how would you handle things differently? Like if your finance minister came to you and said, Prime Minister, I think we're on the wrong track here. How would you tackle that differently than what the experience you've had was?
Well, probably I wouldn't tell my finance minister I was going to fire her the day after she delivered the fall economic statement. I probably wouldn't say that 3 days before she was supposed to deliver it.
Interesting note there.
Step one, right?
Yeah, step one, yeah. Okay, let's talk about the carbon tax. That is sort of the signature policy of the Trudeau government here. You have said no more carbon tax. Why no more carbon tax?
No more consumer-facing
Consumer carbon tax, pardon me. Yes, yeah.
You know why? Because that's what the people are saying to us. And democracy is about listening to people. It is not about saying, dear Canadians, dear people of Ontario, you are so wrong. To be a good leader, you have to listen to people. And that's what we've heard from the people of Ontario and across the country, where people have a consumer-facing price on carbon. They're saying, we don't like it. And progressive premiers, premiers like Wab Kinew are saying the same thing. So we have to listen. And at the same time, we do need a strong plan to fight climate change. It's important for our planet. It's important for our kids. It's important for our economy. And I absolutely know we can do that.
On the other hand, though, when you were asked about it, when you were in the government, you would sort of highlight the fact that I think the number was about 80% of Canadians were kind of getting more back than they were paying on the carbon tax. So if you get rid of the consumer-facing carbon tax, are you not taking money out of people's pockets in a time when there's an affordability crisis?
When you're in a government, you play with the team. All of us have the experience of having a boss and having a team. With the price on pollution, with the carbon tax, I think the people have been really, really clear. People just don't like that, and they're saying that to us. I really think that if you're in a democracy and you're not listening to people and you're lecturing them, that is not going to work. And so
you're fine with lying to Canadians because you could avoid the question. Liberals are perfect at doing that. But she touted that 80% of Canadians get more back than they put in. So even if your boss tells you, like, hey, no, we're not going to take off this carbon tax, just don't mention it. So now Chrystia Freeland is admitting that she's a liar and admitting that she screwed over Canadians. And now also admits that she's going to keep the industrial carbon tax in Canada. Does she not know that that industrial carbon tax bleeds down to the consumer? Because like Synovus and Sunterra and all of these companies, oil and gas companies, Shell, yada, 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 they're not going to just absorb that cost of the carbon tax. They're going to pass it on to the consumer. So we should get rid of both the consumer and the industrial carbon tax.
That is a really important change I think we need to make. And we need to make it because I know that people in Ontario, people in Toronto, they do know that we have to fight climate change. But they're saying this element of the plan we just don't like. I've heard them, and I'm going to do what they want us to do.
So they don't like it, or is it that they don't understand it, that it wasn't sold so well, that people kind of got confused about this whole you're going to pay now, get money back? It sort of seemed to throw a lot of people, like the misunderstandings of it.
You know, maybe, but at the end of the day, I really don't believe in saying to voters, to Canadians, oh, you just don't understand. I think, you know, like, that's just, it's not right. Like, people are smart. People understand what they think and what they want. People are being really clear, and democracy is about hearing that message and acting on it.
Okay, well, we are in the thick of a lot of democracy right about now, Ms. Freeland.
We are.
Yeah, thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate the time.
So yes, at least she can say that, and she's not like Gilbo, who said that Canadians don't. I think it's Canadians that don't understand what the carbon tax actually is, and that's why we're having a problem. And Justin Trudeau said the exact same thing. That's why they're calling it carbon pricing now. So very, very interesting. But what do you think? Do you think Chrystia Freeland will actually take off the carbon tax, or is she just bluffing? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to donate to the channel, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link down below as well. And every little bit goes straight back to the channel. Other than that, have a great day.